And he'd be that one that you have to watch out for. All those years of everybody walking over poor Gordon, he's not going to be able to take it anymore. He gets his knife and it's just a whole bunch of stab, stab, stab.
Hello, welcome to Survivor's Ed, How to Not Die First in a Horror Movie. I'm Chris.
I'm Tawny.
I'm Miles.
And we are two blacks and a Mexican, and if you want to get crazy, we can get crazy. This is a horror movie show where we talk about the movies that we love, the movies we don't love, just horror movies in general, and more importantly, we check in on our people in these movies. Because as you know, we do not always do well in these movies. And so this week, we have an amazing guest with us. We got Mary Lou Beasy from Hell's Kitchen, Season 19, and Geeks and Grubs. Mary Lou, you want to introduce yourself, talk a little bit about what you're up to?
All right, what's up, everybody? That was a great introduction. Thank you so much. It's your girl, Mary Lou, a.k.a. Lou Beasy, a.k.a. the self-proclaimed Champagne Shouty. I feel like if Kanye West can, say he's the greatest rapper, I can say that I'm the Champagne Shouty. So that's what I've already got that going for me. Otherwise, I'm here still working at my restaurant until, the show's over. Then we'll figure out what it is that I'm going to do. I'm also running my Geeks and Grubs, which is my YouTube page where I cosplay and I cook different things from different animes, TV shows, books, movies, things that are inspired by. It's pretty much just my interpretation of whatever I want. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, Mary Lou, if you haven't seen Geeks and Grubs, her Shuri cosplay is epic for the Wakanda episode. Yeah.
Mary Lou, I'm just glad to have another woman on here finally. It's the first time.
Really, the first time? Oh, man. Well, I'm glad
Hallelujah.
I can be united. So now we can say...
tried.
We've tried.
We tried. We did.
All right.
For having me. I'll be honest with you, the name got me. I was just like, this is it. This is a name right here. I want to be a part of this.
You know what I mean? So, I think today we have 3 blacks and a Mexican. Is that how we would describe it?
I don't know. You know what?
There it is.
You guys, I ordered my CRI genetics kit, so we might have a new title in a few weeks.
It might be black
Who
tomorrow,
knows?
right?
Did my cheek swab?
There it is. Shish, good luck with that. All right, so this week we are talking about Us, the 2018 movie by Jordan Peele, starring Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, and just an amazing cast. And this movie is crazy because very divisive. People have different perspectives on it, but mainly it's about us. However you define that. There's doppelgangers, people coming up out of the ground who look a lot like the people on the surface, and antics ensue. So what I'd love, Mary Lou, if you just you suggested this movie, and it was a really good suggestion, I think, and I'd love to just get your thoughts on when you first saw this movie. What was kind of your walking out of the theater reaction?
I want you to know that when I walked out of the theater, I think I thought about this for days, maybe weeks. And I would, I'd continue throughout my day, but I would go home and I would lay in bed and I just couldn't stop thinking about it because I didn't know who I was rooting for anymore. You think, okay, protect this person, we need to keep them safe. This is the protagonist. And then everything just sort of flips. And then I'm just like, so was she this person all along? I think for me it was a very when she looks in the mirror and she looks at her son and I was like, wait, what? Is he in on it? It's who? And I just thought about it for days and I would talk to my friends about have you seen Us? Can we talk about this? Can I just have someone to just other people with? And I think I saw my best friend at the time and she was like, no, that's not what it was. Her son doesn't know. And I said, no, there's an unspoken bond going on in the car.
Yeah, for sure.
Something happens there.
Right? Did she go and take the son from the underground and bring him back up? Or Because wasn't he running around with like his little mask, like a little terrorist for a little bit? I just know somebody else's interpretation because I really would like to have a nice little conversation about this. I was so confused. Oh, damn, Jordan Peele. He's a genius.
So many layers. Yeah.
What about you, Tawny?
Yeah, so I was telling you guys the story of how my viewing of this movie was interrupted by my mom losing her mind about my son's tooth coming out in the bathtub. So it was weird. Like I had, I was all stressed out in the movie, in the walk-in. I went to see it with my sister, my younger sister, and she, we're both horror fans. And it was, I was so looking forward to it. It was one of those, like, I planned to go see it. Like, I made sure that I had a babysitter, like, the weekend it came out, because I had loved Get Out so much and thought it was just such a thoughtful, subtle, nuanced, and layered piece of art. And I didn't know what to expect. And I think I expected another slightly more overt criticism of race, right? Like race and racism and the commodification of Black bodies. And I was sort of expecting that going into Us, and I didn't get it. And I was so, and also because of the weird interruption of my son's tooth coming out, like, sort of jarred out of my movie watching experience by this, like, what am I supposed to make of this, And there's like the scissors and the rabbits and the red suits and Hands Across America and all these different, just loaded, like everything in this movie is loaded with meaning. Like from that, they show the opening shot of like the panning in on the, the home entertainment, we all recognize that furniture if we grew up in a certain era. And like the video cassettes, like the Chud, it was like, that movie. So there are all these little hints about what's going on. And I walked out being like, I don't know what to make of this. And I knew at the time that it was more divisive than Get Out was. Like people, I think, sort of had an overall more positive response to Get Out. But, over time, and I watched it again recently for this, and I hadn't really sat down and watched it for a long time. And I was just like, oh my God, this is such a rich text. And it's such a statement about class, more than anything else, I think. And obviously there's intersectional pieces, but overall it's about class.
Yeah, but I mean, I would say the same thing. Like I kind of left the movies like watching this, and I was, like she said, I didn't really know what to make of this movie. I kind of was, you walk out of a movie and you don't know, you didn't dislike it, and you don't know how much you like it or not. I was just like, I think I went by myself. No, I think I went with somebody. I can't remember, but I was like, I don't really know what the fuck to say right now. Like I'm just sort of like off my square right now. I don't even know how to like process like what I just saw. But like after I went back and actually went to the movies again to watch it by myself, and like I just started seeing more details, and obviously, like you said, the classism thing is there, but just like the duality of yourself, like that aspect of like fighting yourself or whatever, I thought was like some crazy shit. Like, and I think I saw like an interview with like Jordan Peele where he was talking about, as a kid, he had like this vision that it was something about him being a kid and like riding the subway, and he always thought about looking across on the other side of the subway and seeing the other version of himself or something, and wondering like if that version was gonna come for him or whatever. And that just creeped him out. And like when I thought about this watching this movie, I was like, yeah, that I don't know how I would react to this situation happening. I feel like I would kind of try to reason with myself. Like, I don't know, like I know myself pretty well, and like I would just be like, yo, listen, man, like you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, you could kill me. You could do that. Or, you know what I mean? We could finesse this like real quick. We could finesse this real quick. I'll jump in.
We could share
tag
shoes.
Team. There's a lot of possibilities here. There's a lot of possibilities. I could jump in, you hop in, out, we tag in each other out. You just can't be killing people, with my face, obviously. Like, like, don't kill people with my face, like, you know, because then they're like, nah, I'm guilty or some shit. Like, so, like, I feel like I would just be trying to like reason with myself, like, listen, I know you know me, like, you know what we could do, like, yo, listen, like, we could make this work, but I just kept thinking, like, how would you, yeah, do something, I don't know, like, I go on vacation, it's two of us, yo, what are you talking about? Like, I just feel like I was thinking about that, like how to finesse the situation and not be dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, but nah, the movie is like I said, after like watching it, it's dope. Like the cinematography is real dope. Like I love like that opening shot of like her walking on the Santa Cruz like beach, and she like gets to the actual like sand area, and there's like that shot of the, you know, everything behind her. Super dope. Like the cinematography is super dope in this, and that ending scene of like the fight. I mean, if you're ever to beat your own ass, like do it to that song, like, because that's the soundtrack is so fire.
I know. It's so smart. It's so smart. Yeah. I would love to watch that side by side with the dance Natalie Portman does with her doppelganger in Annihilation. Right, those are two like gorgeous, weird, you know, like existential dance scenes.
Both I got 5 on it.
Yeah, super dope.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say, man. That's like, I remember the first time I saw it, I was kind of like lukewarm on it. I was like, man, I don't know how I feel about this.
I don't know how I feel. Yeah.
That climax, I definitely knew the first time I saw it. I was like, that was dope. Like the whole kind of choreographed fight between her and her doppelganger, and this idea that like the doppelganger is like seemingly, seemingly the shadow. We learn is not the shadow, is actually the original Addie, and she's like moving a step ahead, you know, and it kind of illuminates the idea that the Addie we've been following the whole movie is actually the shadow. And it's such a dope like thing, and it's such tragic. It's like a sad, like when I rewatch it, I'm like, it's kind of sad. Like this girl, gets torn away from the world, and then grows up down here in these underground whatever, and
that's one of the
makes this.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think one of the creepiest things, or like one of the things that I think upon rewatching really haunts me is just the pristineness of the setting. Like, those are spotless, mopped as hell, like wax floored halls with like pristine, like, I mean, there's rabbits and shit running around or whatever, but there's not even any rabbit shit. I don't know who's taking care of this, but like one of the things, if you've ever had a rabbit, they constantly shit, and so there's gonna be rabbit shit. But one of the things that like stuck out to me upon rewatching was the way that like the suggestion is that somebody's doing this on purpose. Like, this isn't just some sort of situation that happened and, like, we're stuck in it. Like, this is an engineered dynamic between... And it's touched upon to some extent. Like, I think Red says, like, you know, or somebody created us to control, like, as a system of control, but then they just forgot about us. And then that's the thing. It's like, they're not forgotten. They're there. They're just kept there in a very... like orderly and systemic way. And I think that like I didn't notice that the first time I watched it. I didn't think about it, and it hit me this time as like somebody's doing this. This isn't just the way things are. It's like engineered this way on purpose, and I think that's really important. To like, I don't know, to the way I took the movie in this time around.
It is. I almost like didn't understand that aspect of it. Like when I first saw it, I was like, "Wait, so who did this? And where they at? Like because you never really see the people that And there's a line in there about something about them being able to copy people, but not being able to copy their souls or whatever.
Souls,
and then they were created. Here, okay. So I got this question. So as far as like the tethered, right? Like, so the people on the surface or whatever they do, the tethered ones is basically just mirror what they do,
But in
right?
this
Is
like
that how
sad,
it works?
in this sad sort of half human way, like where they don't even like they're just sort of involuntarily like spazzing out, like when they show the people on the roller coaster. Like if you remember that scene where they show the people that are and they're just kind of spazzing out, and it's just like it's like a half-life.
So is it
right?
so is it that like a spasm? Because sometimes they move independently a lot. Like they left and planned this whole thing and come up. They're standing outside of the house. They're doing all this other stuff independently.
I think that's them stepping out. I think that's them stepping outside.
What I guess my question is, how much do we buy into the whole premise of this movie? Because I feel like a lot of people that I know, their problem with the movie was that they just didn't buy it. They're just like, how is that possible? You know, you start looking at it at a logical level. And I think that's maybe a mistake. But I also can understand how somebody would go in being like, well, how are these people like literally everybody in the ground like this, you know? So I want to give you a chance to chime in, Mary Lou, if you had some thoughts on that.
I guess I never really thought about like how would all those people live down there. I was honestly thinking, why didn't Addie leave earlier? Like, because when she was an adult, she left, but I mean, she knew the way out because she's the one that got trapped up in there. And I found myself thinking about that a lot. And I just, was she scared of something? Did they like hold her back? Did they keep her down here? Did she like feeling like she was in charge of all these people? Like, I really want to know.
That's a good point.
Because it's like they weren't lost down there.
Yeah, it's like wild easy to get out of there. Like you could just pretty much walk the fuck out. Like it's not even like security or nothing.
Time. Yeah, that's what she did the first time, basically, right?
Right, because since her shadow is like tethered to her when when the original Addie is walking towards that place, I can understand why her shadow is walking the same way because they're mirroring each other. And it's like made that point where you guys are looking at each other through the mirror, you see each other. I took the other person. So what's keeping you there? Why didn't you just leave?
That's super valid.
That's the question.
Like, like why wouldn't you leave? Because she could just dip out like the same way. Like anytime they've ever shown anything down there, there's no security or anything. They're just down there,
existing,
just there.
Yeah.
Eating rabbits.
It's even easier because they got an escalator and everything going on there. I'm like, this shit, they ain't even got to take the stairs. They got an escalator going out this motherfucker. Like, they ain't even got to break a sweat to get out of there. Like, you could just take that escalator up, right?
Definitely when that escalator broke, I'm like, who came in and did the maintenance on this? Something happened. 40 years. No, something's going on that you're not telling me. But I was really I'm like, is there going to be a sequel? Are you going to go into talking about more about it?
Yeah.
I spent so much time actually thinking about it, and I was really upset about how much time I spent.
I think like the thing that I had to do was sort of I had to suspend. So I think what I told myself was like, this is an alternate reality. You know what I mean? Like this is a different version of the world. And however it is that these clones exist down here, like if I overthink it, I'm going to drive myself crazy because it's like, look, the clones exist, right? Like, and they're, now that I've accepted that the clones exist, what do I see as their motivation? Well, their motivation is to come up, right? Like they've been awakened to like this idea that, oh, we can leave, because I think that is a thing. Like I feel like the whole two Addies meeting was kind of this inflection point where she came down, she's dragging the other Addie by her foot, and everybody's just still doing their mirror thing. I'm just like, and so they're not even hip to what's going on. And then all of a sudden they see this and they're like, wait a minute. And she becomes kind of the leader, like a
civil rights leader. Yeah.
And maybe she was down there just like, maybe that's why she didn't leave too. She was just like,
let me come back to the I don't know, allegory of the dance thing. Like when you are dancing, you are completely in control of your movements. And when they show her dancing and they juxtapose the real Addie and the shadow Addie, the shadow, like, neither of them, like, they both are completely and utterly in control of their movement, which is fascinating. Like, which when you think of, like, why she was able to escape in the first place, and if you think about this as an allegory, it's the idea of exceptionalism, right? Like if you're an exceptional person, you can get out, and then you have to spend your life defending that. Like, you have to spend your life sort of in the pursuit of staying out of this underclass place. And I think that's what the movie's about. Like, I just feel like, you know, like, she's able to, and I think it's very pointed that, like, you know, what's the husband's name? Gabe. Like, he's wearing his Howard sweatshirt. He's wearing his Howard sweatshirt the whole movie. They have a beach home in Santa Cruz. It's not as ridiculous as the mansion that the white people live in, right? And we can talk about intersectionality and the different layers of privilege that we see in the movie. But, like, it's like, I think there's you know, they're pointing to this idea that it's not everybody that gets to come out of wherever she came from, you know, and she does get out, and she scraps hard as hell to keep it once it's in danger.
Also, I would say, like, just to the, like, classism part of that is, like, it's like people that live in, like, if you've ever been to, I've lived in the hood, so I know, like, it's not like you leave there and go to rich ass neighborhoods and kick it hard as fuck. Like, you don't leave. You don't.
I don't know about you, Miles.
Yeah, I mean, because you're not comfortable there. Like, and that's maybe the reason why a lot of them didn't leave there. Not because they couldn't leave. You could leave the hood at any time you want to. There's nobody keeping you there in the hood. Like, you're staying there because you feel comfortable in that motherfucker. Like, that's why you're there. And they don't expect you to leave in the first place because they've programmed you to think that this is where you belong. And it's like, that's probably why a lot of people just don't walk the hell out of a place that's unsecured with a goddamn escalator, a key, motherfuckers unlocked as hell, gate open. Like, there's nothing keeping you there. It's just like
the rabbits are running out.
Yeah, it's like your mind is keeping you there. It's like, that's why she, you know, probably after a while you start to, you know, accept that this is where you're supposed to be, and until you have somebody, you know, step forward and say, wait a minute, why are we here? Like, let's get out of here. And then when we get out of here, let's stab some people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
with our fucking scissors.
Might as well stab a few people.
Might as well stab a few people on the way out, you know.
Well, let's go ahead and pivot to our second segment called "You Good, Homie," where we check in on our people of color, and we've had a debate about this movie because usually when we check in on our people of color, it's like 2 or 3 people, and maybe a couple die first, and at the end, like, maybe somebody lives, and they're usually a rapper because they had it in a contract that they don't die in this movie. In this case, we got like a whole bunch of black folks, and like they're like clones of each other. So Tawny had an interesting idea, like, oh, well, maybe homie in this situation is the tethered people because they're kind of the ones trying to come up. But throughout most of the movie, you're kind of rooting for them to lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want, like, I like Gabe. I like Winston Duke out here, like, being the corny dad. Like, I don't want him to die on his boat. So, like, so I had mixed feelings about this. So I think we'll take a different approach to the "You Good, Homie" and just ask, like, what how we felt overall about where these characters ended up in this movie, because the family all survived, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the family we knew all survived. So
I actually never felt anything for, like, the kids, the tethered, like, kids or whatever. Like, I mean, it was just like, wow, creepy. Like, where I was like, I mean, if they die, I'm like, yo, listen, sometimes kids gotta die, yo. Like, they just gotta be gone. Like, I didn't really feel nothing for them.
Like, the kids are always the creepiest, no matter what you're watching. If there's like a possessed kid or some kid doing something, I'm like, that kid's terrifying. I don't know what it
Facts.
is.
And they're like, all
they gotta go.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for the actual kids because one of my favorite characters is the daughter. Like when she go in there and she get that golf club and she get one of them, knock one of them out, and she start feeling herself. Like, all right, hold on a second, let me get my shit right so I can, yep. Like I was
golf
rooting
club
for her.
scene was kind of crazy because like when I was rewatching it, she's hitting. Who did she kill with the golf club? One of the twin
daughters,
white
One
girls.
of the rabid twins, the rabid blonde gymnast.
They were the creepiest
twins.
thing in this movie.
They
the record,
flipped
the
it. Those
white girl.
those were like some like gymnast ass girls that were just flipping all over the place.
But she hits her. She's hitting her with the golf club, like with the handle, right? Like, and then she pulls it back, and you just see her like in the last hit. It's like it got stuck in something.
Mm-hmm. You know what? And I want to point out the relevance of those weapons is that she picks up a golf club, right? It's like a putter or something. And then he picks up like an expensive ass heavy, like a geode or some shit. Isn't it like a geode?
Yeah. He had
And
like
he
a
uses
trophy
it,
look like.
but it's like a trophy, but it's like it's like these shit that only rich people would have in their house that's utterly useless in so many contexts. But like they're gonna use it to beat the shit out of these creatures. I don't like. Do we call them humans? I don't know.
They're Americans, man. They told you.
They're Americans. That's probably the best scene in the whole movie.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Nah, but I'm with them. I'm like, yo, get these motherfuckers, get them up out of here, yo. Get them out of here. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. Like, yo, she got the golf club. She handled it. She hopped in the car, was about to run herself over. I'm like, this is where I'm at right here. This is the person that I need to, And then her mom had the same energy. So I never really felt anything for the kids, the evil ones. They never said anything. The girl was just
Smiling,
creepy as hell, just looking. Yeah, I was like, yo, get her out of here, man. Her edges was wrong. Like she had weird makeup on. I was like, yo.
I think they took their eyebrows off or something.
Yeah, they took her eyebrows off or something.
The eyebrows were gone. Yeah. And their names were.
She was looking kind of off. They all, I mean, I guess that is an interesting question. Like, why do you have to look crazy to
why they can't have eyebrows? If anything, her eyebrows should be out of control. Like, nobody's waxing them down there. Like, she should have eyebrows, yo. That's crazy.
yeah, more than enough eyebrows.
Exactly. She should have eyebrows for all of us. Enough to hand out for everybody. Exactly.
Look, yeah. So I guess this is the question I have to. Actually, I'll save that for the end because I feel like this. It would be a divergence, but I do want to ask the question. But so remind me that I have a question for the end. But so I guess I would say like I think Homie did well then in the sense that like I guess what I'm looking at is did the characters that we connect with, how did they do, right? And yes, Addie is kind of the example of a tethered who got free and got up to this world, like got to live that middle class life, which is definitely a metaphor for plenty of folks. Is like what happens when you get up out of the hood and live that life, and then what do you do to bring your other folks up with you? What does that come up look like? But it was kind of like sad, man. I get sad every time I like at the end when she kills the original Addie, the one that she replaced, and just knowing that after watching it once and then watching it again and knowing that, I'm just like, dang, this is sad. This little girl got taken when she was like 6 years old and then just lived this life underground, and then she's obviously like, and I didn't notice until like the second time I saw the movie that the reason she talked like that was because of the damage to her throat. That it was just like, messed this girl up.
Yeah. She should kill somebody. She should kill a couple folks coming up out of there. Yeah.
She tried.
Yeah.
Just plotting. That's why that poem was so extravagant. She's like, I've been thinking about this for years.
Which feels fair. Like, she's the only one I feel genuine sorrow for. Like, when she dies, I feel terrible for her. Like, I don't feel like it was a victory right there because because she literally shouldn't be here. I mean, yeah, it's not her fault. She had a decent life and you didn't. I didn't create. I don't know we don't know who created you. Shit, we watching this to try to figure out. We don't even know who created y'all. Like, y'all just here, and it's not her fault. So why you couldn't just come back with me? Like, we could have went back together and be like,
that's
hey,
what she
I
tells
found
her,
myself.
right?
You know
When
what I'm
she's
saying?
reminiscing, she tells, there's a point where she's like, you could have brought me back with you. Like, there's some point where she says something like that, where Red says that, even before the twist is revealed, that Red is the actual original Addie. She says, like, you know, like, I saw you and it was like a meeting of the fates, like it was meant to happen, and you could have brought me with you and you didn't. And I think, like, that is, like, fundamentally, and I was telling you guys this earlier, like, you know, like, when you're in this weird position of sort of bridging the gap between coming up and being middle class, like, there's a lot of, like, it's not an ethically sustainable position to be in a lot of ways. And I was talking about this Atlantic article, like, private schools are indefensible is the name of it, and having this conversation with my sons about it because they're in private school, and having to, like, make that decision as a parent of being like, I have to make the best decision for my child as an individual and what's best for my family, even though I know on some level, like, I can't defend this ethically. Like, I can't defend the, you know, like, taking resources away from, and I'm a public school teacher, but it's like, and that's the horror here, right? Is like the way we betray ourselves, and in the I think in the service of betraying ourselves, we don't become better people. Like, we don't grow because we keep doing that thing of just being selfish. I don't know. Like, I think about it. It's a painful movie to watch.
I mean, that is what happens, because it's like you could have I won't say easily, because my mom used to say no to everything. So if I showed up like, hey, I found myself, can he come stay with us? Like, she probably would have been like, what? Hell no. Like, I can't. You know, I found myself. Enough of y'all.
Found my doppelganger.
It's enough of y'all here already, and nah, I'm not. Ain't nobody. Ain't
that was actually a question I want to ask. This was the question. What do y'all feel like your doppelganger would be like? Because it seems like it's like a warped version of you, right? Like, so what's the personality?
It's a version of you that didn't get the privileges you got.
Huh.
I mean, I was kind of poor, so, like, my doppelganger must be fly as hell out here. Like, that motherfucker got a Mercedes, all of that shit, because I didn't have none of that. Like, I don't, like, I don't know.
I feel like my doppelganger would be tall.
Right, all the opposite shit of what I'm not, right?
Tall and quiet, with, like, you know, shit like that. Like, would be so articulate and smart and tall and quiet.
Wow.
What it would be like to be tall. I was just telling someone, like, I sit on my mom's chair. My mom got a new dining room set, and my feet dangle when I sit on the chair. I'll never know what it's like to not have my feet dangle. It's not adorable. I'm a pygmy person.
I don't know. I don't know who's shorter between Mary Lou and Tawny.
Mary Lou, how tall are you?
5'1.5".
Oh shit! I beat you by half an inch. I'm 5'2".
Tiny.
That's crazy. We all just want our doppelgangers to, like, have some height on them. Like, we don't even give a fuck. Like,
that's all I care about.
Just be taller than me. Like,
I know she only 5'7", 5'8". Dang. We'll stand right next to her and just be like, legs for days. Yeah, one of us did it.
I'll never know what it's like to be able to just reach up to a cupboard.
Stool in my kitchen right now. I drag it everywhere with me. Cupboards are too high.
Yeah, me too. And I'm not a chef. I'm like, I still have a step stool in the kitchen. I can't reach anything.
I just want my doppelganger to get snacks easily and shit. Like,
call me, I got you. Can you just reach the top thing?
Right, just get some snacks for all of us.
Like, just give me a couple nutty bars and we're good, bro.
All right.
Nutty bars.
You know, it's funny. I'm just random. Yeah, it's funny like that you mentioned that though, Miles. Like, I just thought about that. Like, there's this assumption that the doppelgangers are kind of representative of like something opposing, but if they're clones of everybody, then there's some version of, like you think about the guy who was like holding the Jeremiah 11:11 sign, who was like, he appeared to be maybe homeless, like his doppelganger just was that, but had the letters written on his forehead instead. And so it's like there's less of a gap between them, or maybe like, who knows? I mean, that would be interesting to unpack too, is like, what's it like when you are already on the surface, don't have like this big extravagant or middle class life?
Yeah.
Your doppelganger.
Yeah.
My doppelganger's trash out here,
he's
bro.
like a beach bum, right? Like he's a beach homeless guy.
Yeah.
And like, okay, well, did he need a tethered? Like, I don't.
Right. So the kid up here was like, "This is it, man. I'm going back downstairs."
Shit. There's free rabbits downstairs.
Right. I ain't even got no rabbits up here. Like
No rabbits up here.
Oh my god.
Water tastes like salt.
all right.
So we're at the point of the show where we decide on what is the rule for survival. And we were all over the place trying to think about this rule, but Tawny, I'm gonna let you call it. You had a really good one towards the end there. What's our rule for survival?
Was it about code switching? Which one?
Yes, it was about code switching.
Yeah, learn to navigate both worlds, because that's why Addie is victorious at the end, even despite all the rest of the dead bodies of the non-tethered and the tethered holding hands. Like, her family gets out of there because that bitch knows how to code switch. Like, she came from the underground and she learned to navigate the world of the surface, and she was adept at both. And that's why she makes it. And that's why her kids make it, and that's why her family makes it. Even though I think her son's a little creeped out by her at the end, because he sees her go all guttural as she's killing her doppelganger. But
I was curious. What do y'all think? Like, because she is a tethered, her kids are sort of tethered.
But that's the thing,
right?
and this is what I think is so interesting about what the movie's saying. I don't think there's a fundamental difference between, like, there's not like a biological difference between the tethered and the untethered, because we see Addie make the jump, and not even from birth. So that leads me to, I don't know, feel like the rest of the people just could have done that too. They just didn't have the opportunities. Like it was a matter of the opportunities that were presented to them, as opposed to some sort of biological difference. That was my reading.
Because I mean, like, down there, I feel like they're different though, because down there they have classrooms, so they're teaching them something. I'm assuming. I don't know.
It
maybe
did look like that.
Maybe
yeah.
Maybe that was just the desk that they could afford. I don't know. They had chalkboards in there, scissors. She was cutting the kids out at the end. Like, they had
The papers,
arts and crafts materials. Yeah, they was doing something. That somebody was doing something with them down there. I don't know. Like, so I assume that maybe some of them just are different. They're not human, right? I don't know. Like, what?
I think they
we don't
are.
know how
I think
human
that's the
are
point.
they?
They share a soul. That's what she says. She says they made copies of us, but they couldn't copy the soul, and so we share one. Right. Like, I think that's what she tells her.
But I mean, the thing though is that I noticed is that, like, Addie doesn't. So her Red, her the other Addie, is the only one that doesn't grunt. Like, she speaks the whole time. She doesn't grunt, and everybody else.
Because she's the one that was up top first. So she's the one that had to talk, which is why the other Addie didn't talk for like 10 years, because she had to actually learn how to talk.
Yeah. Right.
And she learned when she came up. As she was killing.
But she was exceptional though. Like, that's the difference. Is like, is she just like a rare, breed of whatever these subterranean people are or whatever? Like what made her be able to adapt going up there versus, because some of those other people, I think they was gonna get up there and be like, man, I'm going back downstairs, man. I don't know what the fuck's going on up here. Like, we holding hands. We didn't kill people. Like, we probably, I don't like, what do they do? How do they thrive?
That's kind of
because they have no lead. Yeah,
what
they have no
probably
leader.
happened is after they got done holding hands, they just went on back downstairs.
Yeah, they just went back downstairs because
Like,
they don't have
this
a leader.
place sucks. They don't even have rabbits
Because their
here.
leader is dead now. Like, well, they don't know that she's dead, but she was the one that was leading them, and she's gone, and she was sort of their guide, you know, sort of their shepherd, if you will, and she's gone. So, what are they really capable of, other than just offing mad people? And then
I feel like that's significant. Being like, we're gonna kill you. Like we're gonna kill you.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
enough.
That's significant. I would. Be
I will
afraid
say,
of...
like, this is maybe one of the first movies where we had people that were like subterranean that didn't come out looking like monsters. Like, they just still look like regular people. Like, like every other movie, they like don't have light or whatever, and they're underground, and they come out with like, I don't know, fucking
looking like Morlocks.
scales.
I don't know.
Whatever the hell they have. Yeah,
We had some missing eyebrows
yeah.
though. I feel like that's significant.
Yeah, and a burnt. You know, like, how did Pluto get burned? I'm wondering, like, if he had like, you know, because what's his name? Jason had like the little magic trick.
Yeah,
Maybe
the lighter
Pluto
thing.
tried it and burnt his face. I was just wondering about that. Like, you know,
Yeah.
there's a story behind why these characters look like that too. I mean, that's that
Yeah.
Jordan Peele thing of like, I'm gonna just put this in there and you can figure it out.
Well, it's like a little bit of like a tweaked out version of what we would recognize as being the normal version of something, you know, like, and they have really interesting names too. Like, I was trying to look up like the father's Abraham, right, and then Pluto, and the daughter's Umbre,
Yeah.
which like you know, Umbra's
Umbra,
shadow,
Yeah.
like penumbra, right, like the. So yeah, like really, and I was like, Abraham's an interesting choice, right, of a name. Yeah, and they're all these sort of just like slightly tweaked out versions of what we would be like, oh, that's a normal person. But I think maybe that's the point, you know. Those scissors are gorgeous. I love the scissors. I don't know what it is about the scissors that's so creepy.
Yeah, the
I don't know if
scissors was
is it-
fly. Yeah,
yeah,
shit was
is
fly.
it that they're gold? Like, is it that they're gold scissors?
Yeah.
And I love when she's telling the story, like when they first, you know, arrive or whatever, and she tells the story, and she's like, you know, the young girl got all these presents and stuff, and all the other girl ever got was hard, cold scissors that like cut her when she tried to play with them.
Yo, that scared the shit out of me when she first started talking, and I was watching this in the movies. Like, that irked me for like a good week. I feel like I was hearing that voice. Like,
Yeah, it's scary.
yeah, that was just creepy as hell. Especially when she told the girl to like run. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Let me go to the bathroom real quick because I'm scared as hell. Like, it just was creepy, man.
Or maybe
like,
you would have been
it's creepy
relieved
as
to
hell.
get that phone call from my mom telling me about how my son's tooth came out, and I should be panicked
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, something. I mean,
Yeah. Well, no, I enjoyed this movie. I enjoy it more every time I watch it. Like, I guess
too.
the first time I watched it, I remember being like, okay, all right. And then I had to like process it. A buddy of mine who is a big movie buff, he really messed me up because he posted on Facebook like right after he saw it, and I hadn't seen it yet. And he had like all thumbs down and like, you know, this
Oh.
movie's terrible. And I was like, what? Like, no way, you know. And then I saw it and I was like, I think I get why he didn't like it, but there's more to, like, I guess there's a thing about marketing too, to be said, because it doesn't fully, I mean, it is a horror movie, right? Like, but like, it's not like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like Get Out where it's more straight up, here's what's going on. Like, you know, here's the premise. Here's
that's
what's
what
really
marketing
going
is.
on, you know?
With your own interpretation.
Yeah.
There
what
was
we
a
walked
lot
away
of
with.
absolutely, and there were. I think it's such a layered movie. I think it was a more complex movie than Get Out. I don't know. I'm not saying it's better, but I think it was more
Right.
complex, and it made like we all walked away from it feeling like, what exactly did, what just, you know, and there were strains of. There were strains of, you know, the social commentary that Get Out was offering, but it was just like a little bit more subtle or like a little bit more literary. Like I don't really know how to, I guess, characterize it, but I definitely walked out feeling like I didn't know how to feel about it. And I'm just so glad that I rewatching it again. I was like, oh my God, I love this. Like I enjoyed it so much more without like the pressure of having to form an immediate impression to it.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of little details of like even like just small shit that I was like, wait, what? Like that I didn't really either I didn't catch or I just didn't know what it meant or whatever. Like the first time like I saw like even like when she's like laying there on the couch and it's like that little spider runs under that toy spider.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I remember I was watching, I was like, what the fuck that's supposed to mean? I know that means something. Like he trying to I'm just thinking to myself, like, it's just mad little details of things in there that it does mean something. And it is duality. It's who's the real version, this fake thing or this, what we interpret as this real thing. So there's that. And I mean, there's just small details, even down to the reason why they do the hands across the world is because at the beginning, very subtly, you see her watching TV. That's what she Red. Well, it's technically Red. Like you see her watching TV, and that's where she even gets the idea of Hands Across America, is because that TV that they're panning out in the beginning, that's her watching the TV, and it's subtle, but you can see her reflection in the TV, and then later on.
And then the video cassettes, right? There's like a Chud.
Yeah.
And then there's the Goonies. Like there's a couple of little like hints about what's to come, and that whole Reagan era, like phony baloney, like philanthropy of like this empty, completely devoid of any sort of meaningful change. Let's all hold hands and absolutely, and it was just like such a smart. So it was so smart to see that inverted. By the end of the movie, you see all these dead bodies, right? Like the murdered people, and then the tethered are like, yeah. And I'm like, shit, they were more successful than the actual Hands Across America. And just what a little giggle.
I also like that at the end, the music that's playing is actually the same music that's playing in the Hands Across the World commercial. It's just a different interpretation of it. If you listen to the song, like it's the same song, it's just like sped up or whatever, and it's like the 80s version of that song. And then like the end is like the actual song itself, like which is a dope. It's a lot of subtleties like in there that he does. I'm like, this motherfucker Jordan Peele, he think he this motherfucker think he tight. Like I see what you like. Yeah, he's dope. Like he's dope, man. Like it's a lot of layers for sure. Like in this one that I don't think are necessarily in Get Out. And like I said, I can't say which one is better or worse. I think they're different. I think Get Out maybe people feel like is more watchable, just it's an easier purely entertainment level. But I feel like this one is more challenging. Like you said, Mary Lou, it kind of forces you to come to some sort of conclusion. Where the other one tells you the conclusion. This is what happened. And this one tells you kind of what happened, but you also have to make some decisions for yourself in this. And I don't think people like that shit. I don't think people like having to make decisions by the end of movies. Yeah, they don't want to decide anything. They want you to decide for them. And I like, it's bold to be like, well, no, you just, it makes it almost interactive where you have to participate in the movie.
Well, there's a level of ambiguity you have to just be at peace with. And I don't think I don't think Americans are real good at ambiguity.
Well, and everything's so meta now that we want everything like to make perfect sense. My son, when we watched it with him, he was like, he finished it and was like, it's one of them thinky movies. And he was just like mad. Like he was just mad. He was like, I didn't want that kind of movie tonight. Like I'm like, sorry, son. Gotta think sometimes. But any final thoughts from y'all? We'll just go around if there's any just final thoughts on Us. And then I have one more question that I want to ask.
Gosh, I feel a little bit bad about. So I had rewatched it, but I fell asleep. Like I didn't finish it, and I had maybe like 20 more minutes left, and so I just got to that today, and I was like, sorry kids, like you're gonna have to watch this with me. And so my see, how old is Huck? 7? No. and Holden, and they're watching this, and I'm explaining the tethered and like what it all means, and like why are the rabbits? Yeah. But like I feel like they took something away from it. Like I feel like they understood. Like there was some level at which which they were interested in it, and they were like, is she gonna die? And I'm like, she has to kill herself. And they're like, and I'm like, man, I'm scarring my kids big time. So I guess that's my takeaway is that I show my children inappropriate movies and try to explain them. And sort of am successful. That's all you can do.
There it is.
I feel like what I took away from it is family, you know? Like, family works together and family conquers all, because at the end, it started out with all of them, and they were all just kind of in separate places, and for the most part, it seemed like they all didn't want to be there. Then they leave, and they're just grateful that they have each other, and they're working with each other, so it's like it doesn't really matter what's going on around you. As long as you have, or at least the people that you call family, you can get through whatever you need to.
Yo, I actually never thought about that aspect of the family, which is stupid because that's the whole thing that's happening the whole time. I'm sitting up here like, man, the car was black when they went past and the shit. I'm looking like for all this like super like petty, like small ass details and shit, trying to like connect them. But honestly, yeah, it is like that's like in your face thing. Like is the aspect.
That's her.
Of family.
That's the thing that makes her go feral. At the end is like her son gets snatched, and she's like, "Motherfucker, I'm gonna kill you!" Like she goes animal when her son gets taken for sure.
And the way she kind of has a weird like, there's a weird look in the way that she reacts to the doppelganger daughter's death when she's in the tree. There's like a gentleness to how she's like, you know, because she could have easily just run up and ended her with that fire poker, but she's just like, you know, she kind of like tells her to be calm basically, and like lets her pass. And there's something there, right? Like the family thing is definitely there, and there's a sense of family even like that between, you know, because in a way, this daughter, this murderous version of her daughter is actually kind of the daughter she would have had, maybe, had she
not any less murderous than the actual daughter, though, and that's I think something the movie points at. You know, like
because she were counting their kill counts. She got busy when it was time. When it was time, she was ready.
Handling business. But all right. So here's my question. This is for Mary Lou. What would a Gordon Ramsay untethered be like? Because I'm very, he almost seems like an untethered already.
Complete opposites. It'd be somebody very calm. That's someone very calm, very passive, and I feel like not nearly as far along in their career where he would be today just because of it. Yeah. But I see everybody just walking all over that person.
He's like the guy in Office Space.
Yeah. They're all like, no, that's just Gordon. He gets in the way sometimes. He'll walk back. That's how I picture that.
But he would have those scissors, though. He would have them scissors for
that's true.
If they, you know what I'm saying? Like,
he could probably get a knife. Like, he'd get a chef's knife.
Gotta change it up.
Those are the more dangerous ones, anyways, the dull ones. And he'd be that one that you have to watch out for. All those years of everybody walking over poor Gordon, he's not going to be able to hold his knife, and it's just a whole bunch of stab.
Stabby Gordon is something I'm here for. This has been a lot of fun talking about this movie. This movie has so many layers to unpack. We probably didn't even scratch the surface of where you could go, but this was a lot of fun exploring. Very different type of episode for us, looking at a movie where homie was on both sides of the coin. But it was good stuff. So Mary Lou, thank you for joining us. Would you do you want to throw out just one more plug for the work that you're doing?
I appreciate that. Yeah, everybody, you can definitely follow me on Geeks and Grubs on Instagram, Geeks and Grubs on YouTube. I have a website, geeksandgrubs.com, and she got merchandise now. So,
Oh.
shirts, postcards, stickers, recipe trading cards, like the works. It's all going up. And then make sure that you keep watching me on Hell's Kitchen. We only have a few more episodes left, so keep watching. I might still be there.
That Geeks and Grub artwork is dope, I gotta say. I was looking and I was like, man,
My
this is...
best friend does it. Her Instagram is draw.jess.draw, and she's been my friend since college. And we'd always talked about like me starting a YouTube channel and her doing the graphics for it. And then it just took off.
There
I was like,
is.
oh my gosh, we've been doing this for so long. And she's like, I can't believe it's happening.
That's what's up.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us, for watching. If you disagree with our take or just want to add to this conversation about this super complex movie, feel free to drop a comment if you're on YouTube. If you're on Apple, you can't really do that. So you can just leave us a really nice review. Thanks so much for joining us. We're almost to the end of our season here with Survivor's Ed, but if you want to go back and watch other episodes, we're on all platforms, YouTube, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you can find podcasts. But until next time, stay safe.